अस्सलाम वालेकुम एंड गुड इवनिंग फेलो। वीक 3 के लास्ट सेशन के साथ हम आज आपके पास हाजिर हैं। हैप्पी इंडिपेंडेंस डे, यौम आज़ादी मुबारक टू एवरीवन हूएवर इज वाचिंग अस। एंड वी रियली एक्साइटेड कि स्टार्टअप समर स्कूल का वीक 3 आज एंड हो रहा है एंड वी प्रॉमिस यू अ रोलर कोस्टर जर्नी एंड वी हैव ब्रॉट यू अनदर एक्साइटिंग सेशन, और जिसमें डॉक्टर इमरान जवार जो कि रीजनल डायरेक्टर है मिडिल ईस्ट एग्जीक्यूटिव डेवलपमेंट के क्रैनफील्ड यूनिवर्सिटी यूके के साथ उन्होंने हमें ज्वाइन किया है। सो वेलकम डॉक्टर इमरान साहब।
Thank you very much, Imran Saab. Thank you so much.
और हमारे साथ है मेजर जनरल उबैद बिन जिक्रिया, वाइस चांसलर लॉर्ड गैरिसन यूनिवर्सिटी। सर वेलकम ऑन बोर्ड।
Thank you very much.
सर थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर सपोर्ट एंड योर विजन, जिसको लेके हम आज आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। डॉक्टर इमरान जवार is ex-Navy, then he left Navy and joined Cranfield, did his PhD, doing consulting work across Middle East. Then we came together in a partnership with CGI and Cranfield University, and we established Pakistan's first social and creative incubation program. लेकिन इस सब प्रोफेशनल जर्नी में जाने से पहले वी वुड लाइक टू स्टार्ट विद प्रोफेशनल जर्नी ऑफ डॉक्टर इमरान जवार। डॉक्टर साहब, नेवी से क्रैनफील्ड यूनिवर्सिटी का सफर, इस पे अगर आप थोड़ी बात करें प्लीज।
Thank you, Imran. Thank you very much. Uh, I would start by saying, sir, when I was a child, I come from a military family. I'm a naval baby. My father was in the Navy, so of course I grew seeing him in the uniform, and I was absolutely passionate about the armed forces. And as I was growing up and I was coming down to that age ke jab you make a decision what kind of a career you are going to choose, so he took me to various friends. My father took me to his friends for counseling, to making sure that we are able to I'm able to follow the right direction. So people used to ask me, what is your first option? They told me, of all the times, have your options laid out. So okay, that's great, you want to join the armed forces, but let's see what are your options. So what is your option one? And I used to say my option one is to join the Navy. What is your option two? My option two is to join the Army. What is your option three? My option three is to join the Air Force. That was the kind of frame of mind through which I came across. I unfortunately was unsuccessful in my first ISSB, and that was heartbreaking, to be honest. And that was kind of a failure that I had never expected in my life, because my whole life I had prepared for that very moment, and I unfortunately could not do it. And I started studying at Bahria University. It was a concessioned university because of my father. He was in the Navy, and I had absolutely no direction, no thought where I'm going. I was a pre-engineering student. When I joined Bahria, I said, okay, let's explore bachelor's of business administration. So I took admission in business administration program. And then I got the second chance with ISSB as everyone else. And for this chance, I was so heartbroken that I really didn't prepare that much. And I think now looking back, when I realized on the first attempt, I over prepared and I could not make it. On the second attempt, I was myself without giving much attention to it, but keeping in view that I had spent all my life to live this dream. And Alhamdulillah, I was successful in the second attempt of the ISSB and went on to join the armed forces. But during this process, now if I connect the dots, you see, I started my bachelor's of business administration. I did 2 semesters before I landed up with the second opportunity of ISSB. So somewhere down there, this business side of things was there in me. Within the armed forces, I opted for aviation. Unfortunately, I met an accident and I had to leave the aviation. And at that very point, I decided that either it is flying or it is flying outside the armed forces. So I left the armed forces, took a mature retirement, voluntary retirement from at the rank of a lieutenant. And I decided to explore the industry. And I was very confident that with lieutenant, I started doing my MBA with an MBA on board. I'll easily land up a job. And I struggled the whole year to find a job. I could not find a job. And during that whole year, interesting things happened. I landed up with a factory as a merchandiser to do, I was very well paid as part of that factory setup, at least 3 times more than what I was earning as a lieutenant. But you know what? I only served there for 3 days. The environment, the setup, that Setia mentality in those organizations, I could not live up to it. I walked out from. I got a chance with IBA. That was the time when Dr. Ishrat Hussain was revamping IBA. So I kind of became a brand ambassador from the perspective that I was representing in the industry. And I was taking a lead on career development center services for IBA Karachi. But during this whole 1 year period, as I was reflecting and analyzing, I understood that I have really good grades. I was a gold medalist from my MBA program from Zabist. I had military experience. So I thought, okay, if I'm not getting a job, at least I'll get an admission with some good university internationally. And it was not so difficult to do 1+1 = 3. I started exploring international universities, and I got admission with Carnegie Mellon University. And I decided to go down that path of Carnegie Mellon. So what happened was that Carnegie Mellon opportunity landed at the very point when I was with IBA. So I had an offer, I was working with IBA, and then again, I was at a kind of a stage where I have to decide. I'm very well settled in a job. Should I continue with it, or should I go for more education? And I adopted the difficult route. I said, I was married by that time. I said, okay, let me leave the job and continue with more education. This is an opportunity that I might not get again. So I got a full scholarship with Carnegie Mellon University. I hopped on that opportunity and joined them. From there, other avenues opened. I started working with the Saudis after doing my master's program from Carnegie Mellon. They were keeping an eye on what I'm doing. In between, I came back to Pakistan once again because Dr. Ishrat Hussain, I was maintaining good contacts with him. He brought me back when they were establishing the first entrepreneurship center in collaboration with Babson College. So I was the program manager, almost the founding program manager for the Aman Center for Entrepreneurship. And that was the time when the Saudis had a keen eye on what I am doing. And I was headhunted by Saudi Arabia to lead entrepreneurship. This is around 2012, when Saudis were going through a huge transformation. And when I landed in Saudi, I started working with top institutes, INSEAD, Harvard, IMD, EASA, Cranfield. And I realized, I'm very small in this space. And if I really want to live a dream, I have to go on to a journey which is more accomplishing in terms of educational perspectives. So I was fortunate. I got an opportunity with Cranfield University during that time. I started my PhD with Cranfield, and it's such a beautiful place that ever since I just stayed back here. But also my connections with the Saudis kept on growing throughout this period. I worked with His Royal Highness Prince Faisal bin Salman, who is the eldest son of the Saudi king, on some of the initiatives with respect to Nama Al Munawwara. They were setting up a trust for upgrading Saudis. So from the Saudization policy, they were trying to upskill the Saudi executives in the region. I worked on that project with them. Also worked in several other Middle Eastern countries, UAE. Now we are working with Lebanon and other areas. So that became an area of interest for me. I'll just end by saying that when I was in Saudi, I was positioned in Medina. And it was again very difficult when I received an opportunity from Cranfield University. It was kind of, I was torn apart. Should I go to Cranfield? Should I leave Medina? Because as a Muslim, it's a very difficult decision that you take. And at that point, I remember visiting Kaaba. I was performing my Umrah. And that was kind of a pact. I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't know what things you have chosen for me. So if I get a scholarship at Cranfield, I would say that comes from you, and I'll take that opportunity and I'll leave, but with something in mind that I would serve back the Muslim Ummah and the Muslim countries. And this scholarship process was extremely competitive. Only 6 people in the world got scholarship, and I was the last batch where they gave scholarships. The scholarships dried out in the UK after that, and I was one of those 6 who got scholarship with Cranfield. So I came here, and when I was going through this PhD, always this thing was there in my mind that I have made a pact. How will I be serving the Muslim Ummah? And you just see that I made a commitment, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fulfilled that commitment for me. It all happened in a manner that sitting here in the heart of UK with such a brilliant university, all I am doing is helping the OIC, helping the Muslims grow up in terms of the executive talent and executive development performance. So that is what I do at Cranfield, and that is a bit of my journey. I'm skipping a lot of parts there, but in a nutshell, Imran, that's where how I landed up from being a military officer back to being a civilian, and what I am currently.
That's one exciting journey, Dr. Saab. Traveling from Navy to being a business consultant in Middle East. And I know personally that you're doing great in Middle East as well. I don't want to disclose your turnover here. Might be tax officials be after you while once again when you land in Karachi. So, Dr. Saab, coming from this, अब अगर हम next level पे हैं professional journey पे, in 2019 rather 2018 में पहला हमने बातचीत शुरू करी जब ब्रिटिश काउंसिल के साथ मिलके हमने क्रैनफील्ड ने और सीजीआई ने पाकिस्तान में पहला सोशल एंड क्रिएटिव इंक्यूबेशन प्रोग्राम बनाया. पर्सनली आई बीन योर स्टूडेंट एज वेल. हमने एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप बहुत सारी आपसे सीखी, करिकुलम में आपने हमें हेल्प किया. उसके बाद जो आपने क्रिटिकल चीज हमें समझाई कि जो डिसरप्टिव ग्रोथ है, जो इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ है, वो नेसेसिटी अपॉर्चुनिटी नेसेसिटी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप से नहीं आती, वो अपॉर्चुनिटी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप से आती है जहां आप डिसरप्टिव इनोवेशंस लेके आते हैं. सो थोड़ा सा अगर आप उस पे हमारा जो डाइस का प्रोग्राम था उस पे अगर बात करें प्लीज.
ठीक. Thank you, Imran Sahab. That was a hell of an opportunity, because I remember still we internally, that was a mission to fight, because it was a good program. I wanted to be engaged in that program. We were running against time, if you remember, Imran Sahab. When we were filling those applications, we were running against time. But Alhamdulillah, we happened to work together. It was written in our fate. We ended up working together. Now, Pakistan ki entrepreneurship system ke saath I have an affiliation. The reason being that IBA ne jab first entrepreneurship center apna qaim kiya, so I was part of it. And entrepreneurship became a buzzword in the country. Every Tom, Dick and Harry started doing entrepreneurship as well, which is good, which is not bad, because entrepreneurship hamari blood veins mein aa gaya, or at least the time when we were doing our education, हमारे पास 2-3 ही ऑप्शंस होते थे. ये एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप का ऑप्शन कभी होता ही नहीं था. तो इट बिकेम पार्ट ऑफ द मेन फ्रेम सिस्टम. बट उसमें प्रॉब्लम ये हुई कि एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप स्टार्टेड बिकमिंग, इट परहैप्स बिकेम अ विक्टिम ऑफ इट्स ओन सक्सेस, एंड इट बिकेम एक्सट्रीमली मिसअंडरस्टूड इन आवर सोसाइटी. तो वो हर छोटी चीज को एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के साथ टैग कर दिया गया. देयर आर सम प्रिंसिपल्स, और मेरी पीएचडी वाज अराउंड दोस प्रिंसिपल्स. व्हाट आई एक्सप्लोर्ड इन माय पीएचडी वाज कि इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की बैक के ऊपर कैसे होती है, हाउ इकोनॉमीज कैच अप, जो डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज हैं, हाउ डू दे कैच अप यूजिंग एंटरप्रेन्योरियल बेस, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की कंट्रीब्यूशन क्या है. तो उस जर्नी के दौरान मुझे ये समझ आई कि एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इज एक्सट्रीमली कॉम्प्लेक्स. इट्स नॉट सो इजी, एंड देयर आर डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप. वी हैव अपॉर्चुनिटी बेस्ड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप and we have necessity based entrepreneurship. Or necessity based is usually very prevalent in developing context. इसकी वजह यह है कि जॉब होती नहीं मार्केट में, और people are forced to do entrepreneurship. Why? Because they don't have an option out. They have to earn something, and in order to make a daily earning, they are also entrepreneurs, rightly so. Lekin those kind of entrepreneurs, research suggests, make absolutely no contribution to economic growth. They are self-motivated entrepreneurs who, if they would earn more, would utilize themselves and would not let economy benefit from that growth. But then there is another kind of growth जिसको radical entrepreneurship कहा जाता है, और वो अपॉर्चुनिटी ड्रिवन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप होती है, जो आजकल मेरा ख्याल से a lot of incubation centers जो काम कर रहे हैं, NICs if I'm not wrong, they are more focused towards this radical aspect कि आप एक entrepreneurial facility कैसे establish कर सकते हैं that adds value. So in my opinion, whenever we are going towards entrepreneurship, the fundamental question to ask is, what is the value that this is going to bring? What is the value creation that this startup or the setup is going to have for the wider economy? And that is opportunity driven entrepreneurship. In the context of our country, we need more of opportunity driven entrepreneurs. I think I stepped the shoes of one of our friends when we were discussing this at Namal, and there was a bit of disagreement. And this is, as a humble person, I'm a student of entrepreneurship, this is entirely my opinion. There can be disagreements around this, but this is what research confirms, that it is primarily opportunity driven entrepreneurship who is going to bring economic growth in the country. And if you subsidize necessity, and what's happening right now is, unfortunately, we are ending up subsidizing a lot of necessity entrepreneurs. That's not going to help. That's your money gone down the waistline. That's not going to help at all. It is how you develop a process where you identify these opportunity entrepreneurs and then train them up. They would become the vanguards of the economic system of the country tomorrow. So how do we do that? Then that's again a different science.
सर, इसमें आपको भी डिस्कशन में अगर हम शामिल करें, डॉक्टर इमरान साहब की पूरी PhD इस पे है, वेर ही सेज कि जो नेसेसिटी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप है, जो बंदा आउट ऑफ नेसेसिटी, मजबूरी के तहत एक छोटा सा बिजनेस शुरू करता है, वो अपने लिए लिविंग तो बना रहा है, बट वो इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ क्रिएट नहीं कर रहा, विच कैन बी एट रिक्वायर्ड इनिशियली कि लोगों को जॉब प्रोवाइड करने के लिए नेसेसिटी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप पे लगा दिया जाए. बट जो अगर आपने मुल्क को ग्रो करवाना है, इकोनॉमी को ग्रो करवाना है, सो द रियल चेंज वुड बी कि आप अपॉर्चुनिटी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप पे जाए, जहां पे आप बड़ी बड़ी मार्केट साइजेस आइडेंटिफाई करें, लाइक करीम और उबर मॉडल्स, कि आप बहुत बड़ी बड़ी मार्केट गैप्स आइडेंटिफाई करें, और वो मे भी यहाँ पे नेसेसिटी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप वाले ही ग्रेजुएट करके अपॉर्चुनिटी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में चले जाएं, अपॉर्चुनिटी एंटरप्रेन्योर्स बन जाए, और वो फिर बड़े बड़े बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करें और उनके इर्द गिर्द बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज बिल्ड करें, लाइक एप्पल इज नाउ ऑलमोस्ट क्लोज टू $2 trillion. So that's how economy में बहुत radical changes आती है. So,
Imran or Dr. Imran, actually, despite the fact that I am also, I've not done my PhD in entrepreneurship, but I always say that at least I have some knowledge of this because I have been associated with this for almost now 20 years. Out of my academic, complete professional experience of 46 years in academics, out of 20 years has always been on entrepreneurship. And as you know, if you are a student of entrepreneurship, it all started from Schumpeter Institute in Austria. You know, Americans now take the claim of being the pioneers in entrepreneurship, but it's not the fact. The fact it comes from Austria. I'm sure you would agree with me.
I absolutely agree.
I was honorary member of that even when I was in uniform, and I had been delivering international conferences, seminar, speaker notes. I mean, keynote speak. Sorry, I had been speaking in those. My point is slight marrying up of the opportunity as well as necessity, because as you very rightly said, you have to actually evaluate under the environment, the obtaining environment of that country where you are trying to apply this. Maybe in a developed country is different, in China is different, but in Pakistan, we have to match the unemployment and and all those job facilitation with entrepreneurship. Now, I take your example. You were in IBA, and every time there was an opportunity, you got hold of it because you had a very firm base from where you could launch itself. If you cannot speak Chinese, you cannot actually understand where the opportunity lies. Similarly, since you were in IBA, you understood business, and whenever there was an opportunity, you kept on that ladder and you reached up to Cranfield. This is how your journey has taken place. I would say in Pakistan, let's first of all, what is the biggest problem of ours? The biggest problem of ours is that there are no jobs. People only cannot even meet end-to-end daily requirements of theirs. Then keeping our social setup, one bread earner has to look after 4 or 5 people. So my point is, let's create first of all the entrepreneurship of that necessity, where everybody becomes an entrepreneur. And I would, when I say I am not in favor of these NICs, although again, a little difference with you, I'm in favor of that, but not the way it is happening here. We don't want it to be buzzword. Don't want degrees. Actually, I want entrepreneurs, because this is what I have been doing throughout my life. I'm more of a practical man. Let's make them to jump into the water and learn swimming. Since you are Navy, you must be, more familiar with this term. Just make them jump. We will guide them. That is the point where we have given them this 1 month roller coaster entrepreneur course. Let me tell you, the amount of learning, even I thought always that on entrepreneurship, I'm also somebody. But let me tell you, after having listened to such experts during the last 3 weeks, and mostly they are Pakistanis, I am so educated. I'm so educated that we have now going to make a complete video of all this, maybe not one, maybe 20 videos. And we want these children of ours who are going to be very, very fortunate, let me tell you, in times to come, we are going to actually bombard them with this knowledge. And actually, this roller coaster will be one thing they will remember throughout their life. Because we are going to concentrate all this, learn from experience of those people who are not only, almost everybody has been almost like your experience. You did not face much failures, or you have missed them out because of paucity of time. But most of those people were sometimes so much of failure that they had given it up. But they then came up, and now they are the best of their people in that particular field. So I want, actually, let's say our target is 1 million jobs to be created through entrepreneurship, and not in a very long period. I want it to be done in 2 years. There's an ambitious target. But so is $500 billion knowledge economy for Pakistan in 2030, which was the baseline of starting this program. This 1 month program is basically hinged with our actual vision, which is $500 billion knowledge economy for Pakistan by 2030. Within that, the first objective is to produce 1 million entrepreneurs. And I'm very grateful to you that you have given this name as necessity entrepreneurs. We are going to generate this 1 million necessity entrepreneurs within 2 years. And let me also tell you, we are not going to leave you like this. We are going to engage with you now from here onwards. We'll keep telling you through our newsletter what we are doing, and wherever we can find help from you. We have a plan for those 1 million. It's a very, very ambitious, but a workable and a viable plan. It's not desire. It's a necessity. So we will produce those out of this context, as you explained, the necessity entrepreneurship. But what is the aim of all this 1 million? Everybody cannot become Apple. Everybody cannot become Uber. Everybody cannot become Alibaba. Those are one in very few. 98% entrepreneurs fail. If you aim that way, the 98% failure would actually just keep them out of everything. I don't think they would come up again to fight it out. But if you are successful necessity entrepreneurs, you are earning something. Automatically, innovation will come in. Innovation is not something you invent. You will agree with me. Innovation is to improve an existing thing in such a manner that it becomes a value addition to earn money. And it is here when it will start contributing towards the economy of the country. People who have got experience, they will try to improve it. And then this is a snowball effect. They will keep either changing their options, catching up to opportunities. And when they do this, it will become an entrepreneur opportune people. And maybe out of 1 million, there would be 10,000, 5,000 people who would go into the opportunity. As a result, the remaining, let's say, 95% will still remain in the necessity part. But still, they are going good because they are earning money and they are not a failure. They are not, in the classic sense of entrepreneurship, they are not failures. Now, this 5%, we expect out of those 10,000 people, there will be some maybe on the topmost 0.1%, and they may become Apple of Pakistan, they may become Uber of Pakistan. They can become anything at the top line. So this is how I see things, a pyramid emerging, which is a natural pyramid. I call it a natural pyramid. I would like to ask you on this take, because this program of ours, it starts and finishes off at 500 billion. I repeat, knowledge economy by 2030 for Pakistan. We have chalked out a plan. Within that plan, this program of 1 month roller coaster is also there. We already started it in September for 3 months. That is also already done. Now we are into 1 month roller coaster. We are teaching almost the same things which we've taught in 3 months. We selected 10 students out of that. We are going to select 10 students more out of this one month. And now we are also going to bring in NICs, and we are going to have a competition among the startups. We are going to select few of them from there, and all of them combined together on 28th of this August. We are going to have a country summit. In country summit, we are going to have a competition among these 30 students. 10 from NIC, 10 from this 1 month's roller coaster, and 10 from the cohort which we did for the first for LGU. Now, these three, when combined together, that is why I am always emphasizing, and I'm always sitting with almost everybody 3 hours a day with all three sessions of this particular course, out of not only interest and passion. I know quite a few things, but just to get ideas, more and more ideas. We have got a lot of ideas now, but I would emphasize these students. Now, I would like to address the students who are actually watching this. We keep recording of these, and we post them on our blog by the evening. It is available to everybody. I want everybody to see those. If somebody misses out a live program, you should go through these movies and those videos and those lectures, and they should appear in the quizzes. All those who pass the quizzes, they will qualify for the country summit also. And once they go for the summit, we are going to select 2 of them for the international competition, which has a prize money of $1 million in collaboration with a Silicon-based organization. So this is our journey, and these are the ladders which we have made. But I would like now your expert and your other opinion regarding and what is your take on what I have said. I call it a entrepreneurship pyramid, starting from necessity to opportunity, from opportunity to the top class entrepreneur. How would you take that?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. If you ask my opinion, I would just refer back to research again. It's a very good. You have a well thought out, chalked out plan. I would just highlight what research suggests in these areas, because I have explored it from the research angle. What research suggests here is that I would take my words a bit back, because they might be prone to misinterpretation. We do not necessarily say that we block out opportunities for the people. Opportunities, especially knowledge related opportunities, as you are highlighting, General Saab, they should not be blocked out. Everyone has that right, be it necessity driven entrepreneurs, be it opportunity driven entrepreneurs. I think as members of the society, it is a right for them to come on board and explore them. The second step which you highlight, which is very interesting, and I'll allude to a bit divergence from that, is how these necessity entrepreneurs can be converted into opportunity. I think this in itself is a research question which needs further exploration, and it's a very good one. How is there a process? Because I don't know. It's a hypothesis that necessity-driven entrepreneurs can tomorrow be converted into opportunity. Let me show you my research extended a bit on that. but I went perhaps too micro in that. And in that sense, I studied the freelancers. So if I equate the freelancers with the necessity driven, I don't have a basis to equate the freelancers with the necessity driven. Freelancers, from our definition when we were doing the research, is the freelancer is someone who is a one person company. There are no one else supporting them. So it's a one person driven organization. It is a freelance project. Freelancers, the research confirms, become seed beds for tomorrow's opportunity driven growth. So these freelancers are like small seeds that you sow in, and tomorrow they have a great chance of becoming into bigger opportunity driven enterprises. The real challenge that comes in this context, and especially in the environment where I am currently living in, there's a big debate. What is the support that government has to give them? And from that sense, the research or the government public dialogue is, why should taxpayers' money be invested on necessity driven entrepreneurs when research confirms that they would anyways become necessity driven? So from the support of the government system, you have to allocate your limited resources in a manner which give you higher return on investment. So if I point out from that perspective, where you are going to invest, your investments are, research suggests that your investments are better off a higher return if you're investing in the opportunity driven entrepreneurs. So when we are developing, like you have developed the pyramid, I think it would be extremely lethal if we miss out the necessity entrepreneurs. It would be unfair to necessity entrepreneurs to miss them out from the pyramid. And that is absolutely not the intent, because they both go hand in hand. You can't deprive the economy completely from these necessity driven entrepreneurs with an aim that you will only have opportunity. As you said, General Saab, that tomorrow some of these necessity driven entrepreneurs might very well convert into opportunity. Who knows? And
sorry for interruption, Dr. Zawar. I think I could not explain it properly. There will definitely be many people out of this necessity which will go into that. It's not that some of them, many of them will go there. We just presently want them to be settled instead of being failures. I want them to be actually at a platform where they can find innovative ideas, and they can just jump towards that field or that border of the opportunity and necessity. That's what my point was. I'm sorry, I missed out that.
Absolutely, I think that should be the plan. Anyways, if you're developing the system from a scratch, I think we certainly cannot accommodate to miss that thing out. So necessity entrepreneurs are part of the system. It's just about how you can convert them to opportunity, which you have already highlighted in your talk, and then further see how you can make investments into those opportunity driven growth. As you very rightly pointed out, in the pyramid, as you keep reaching on the top, you would keep filtering out, and those who have the highest innovation driven systems would stand out from that crowd.
On the lighter side, Dr. Imran, I just wanted to ask you, if I put across this pyramid theory and I like to do PhD on that, would you give me the degree? And if it comes to the success story also.
I absolutely believe, sir. As I said, that this in itself is a research question. When I was, now it's a few years back, it was 2012 when I was exploring my research question. Interesting thing that I found out was that there's a lot of research and literature available on entrepreneurship. But when you talk about entrepreneurship driven economic growth, there is really less. And in the world, there are very few PhDs on entrepreneurial economics. It is small business economics, very few. And that is where I landed myself in. It is the amalgamation of economics, econometric models, and the small businesses, the entrepreneurship driven theory. It's a beautiful, and it is still growing. So I think this pyramid theory lands very nicely in that sweet spot, which it would be great if you are able to do some research on it and prove those hypotheses.
Give me an incentive, PhD incentive. I'll do that.
Dr.
Entrepreneurship.
डॉक्टर साहब, our third partner in crime is joining. Ahad Nazir भाई कह रहे हैं कि वो रेफरेंस दे रहे हैं lived life of an entrepreneur, जो केस स्टडी आपने हमें वर्कशॉप में शेयर की थी आप.
जी, इसमें जनरल साहब को मैं शेयर करूं and with our audience as well. We tried to, General साहब, ever since I entered academia, I felt one thing, and perhaps academia is also one of the industries that is prone to disruption, and disruption is going to come very quickly to this part of the industry as well. We are already seeing some of it because of this COVID. You have seen how
Right.
academics have been pushed to adapt online practices very quickly. But there is a big, still we are lagging behind, and it is globally in research practices. If you see the commercial world of research, that has massively grown. These big organizations, Procter & Gamble, Unilever, they have research tools that they utilize to continuously improve their products. But when it comes to academic-driven research, we absolutely have nothing from that sense. We are still on a very back end of same old processes, methodologies, and tools that we are using. So we thought about that at Cranfield, and we launched this project, Lived Life of an Entrepreneur. And we really wanted to pick up on some of the technologies, latest technologies to do this project. And the whole idea was kind of a live ethnographic study where we utilize artificial intelligence and some of the wearable technologies like hand watches, like rings, to understand the lived life of an entrepreneur, and then to monitor it on basis of a real-time data. That project is on hold. It's a shame that it's on hold, but we are almost 1 year through that project right now, where we have gathered some of the data. A pilot study was conducted, and again, I'm very glad that we ended up doing a pilot study on Pakistan. So we recruited a group of entrepreneurs where we have started seeing some data, and the next step would be charting out some of those trends and see, are there any trends existing? And that would give you a full reflection of what is the kind of life an entrepreneur lives through. And that would lead into better inventions or interventions that you can then take with these entrepreneurs, be it academic interventions, be it coaching, guide, moral support, or things like that, which would allow you to do that. That is what Live Life of Entrepreneurship was.
Dr. Imran, I have a saying here. You know, I want to. This reverse pyramid theory is all my own. Thinking. But let me tell you, throughout my life, whatever I think, I actually do it. So let's see how does it work out here. But I see it after this 3 weeks. I see it absolutely with no doubt that it's a success story. But we will discuss it with you exclusively because it needs a lot of time. Second thing which I want to tell you is starting from the real definition of entrepreneurship, which actually needs a leader, and out of the qualities of a leader, they want to have a vision. Vision we already have. But the second thing is the perseverance, and you just get after that job which you have already assigned for yourself. Now there you need a mentor. Some or the other, although not very exclusive, and in real terms, I've not been mentored by him, but I have been impressed by his history, by his teaching, by his work, and that is Mr. Babar Ali, Sayyid Babar Ali. Now, there are two things why I am impressed by him, and I follow his book also. I invited him to my university, where he stayed with us he came for 4 hours, he stayed for 8 hours and went weeping, because he thought that this is the place where entrepreneurs can actually become, there are germs of entrepreneurship here. And that was 2 years back. And I think now we are going to go back to him. Now, why? This is one reason that he himself throughout his life was an entrepreneur. And he has done so much to the economy of Pakistan that you look at anything, Unilever, you look at packages, you name anything here in Pakistan, it will be somehow or the other linked to education, lumps. My point is, this is one area, and I think it supports this pyramid theory. He started with normal necessity, although he was silver spoon fed person. But by the time he landed, it was silver spoon was gone, and he had to start off again. So he started off with that, and he had failures, he had successes, but at the end of the day, he became an extremely successful man in Pakistan, not only Pakistan, world over. He always looked for opportunities. He looked for, let's say, the World Health Program. He looked for whenever there was a requirement of teachers, he started a teaching academy. The second thing which I want to break a record is that he is at 93 and still an entrepreneur. That's the biggest, I think. He can still talk like a very, very sane, a very intelligent, and a very progressive visionary person right now also. 5 days ago when I talked to him, I thought he was still, if I didn't know his age, I thought I was talking to a 50 years old person. Now that actually I want to break that record also. And that record is that if I am now 65 or 66, I still have about 26 or 28 years to go to reach his stage. And I want to become an entrepreneur at this age to give an incentive to youngsters that if I can become a good entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, why can't you people? So these two actually are my principles on which I'm basing the whole pyramid itself. The pyramid is just a process, but actually there's a vision, and then behind that is one of the strategies which has motivated me to actually go through this, despite the fact that it's to the utmost resistance from my family, my friends, and everybody. They want me to get retired and enjoy it. But unfortunately, they don't understand that I enjoy this way.
Yeah.
Very well said. Very well said. I think the real driver or motivation that you're feeling this way is because you want to contribute something, and you are seeing that perhaps by your own example you'll be able to lead that and become an inspiration. I think within leadership space, we say that there is one aspect which is network driven leadership. There's another aspect that is personal leadership. And oftentimes in kind of environments where we are in Pakistan, I think personal leadership, just like you mentioned the example of Sayyid Babar Ali, I think personal leadership people allude to that better as opposed to the network driven leadership. Perhaps as a society we are trained that way, that we see role models and we pick things up. I think you are on a very right track, sir, and there is nothing stopping. I don't say that age is just a number in this game. It doesn't stop people from achieving what they envision and what they want to.
All right, thank you very much for endorsing that point of view, and let me tell you, you will be part of the success story.
Inshallah. I see a question from Ahmed, Brother Imran. If you allow me to address that, Ahmed has asked a very good question about problem solving. And he suggests, is problem solving an opportunity-driven entrepreneurship or necessity-driven entrepreneurship? I think identifying the problem sits at the heart of design thinking. Most of the time where we go wrong is jumping to solutions without realizing what is the job to be done. What are we trying to do here? We never reflect on the job to be done. And Albert Einstein, I quote him, maybe I do not have his exact words, but in one of his thoughts, he said that if I am given a chance and my life depends on that chance, I would spend 90% of the time identifying what is the problem to be sorted. Because once I have identified the right problem, I'll be able to come up with the correct solution.
Yes.
So that is how important problem identification is in this whole process. Within problem identification, there are two aspects. There is exploration and there is exploitation. Half of the entrepreneurs go down the exploitation route. They try to exploit the problem. And by exploitation, I mean the current problem which exists, they try to bring in incremental changes to that. And they try to see how they can improve it incrementally. But the entrepreneurs on the other end, who are exploration-based entrepreneurs, are the Steve Jobs of this world, who are not going down that incremental route of problem identification and solving, but they're trying to identify what's the job to be done kind of a question. And they are coming up with radical ideas to grow the pool and to grow things further. That would be my comment, Brother Imran, on Ahmed's question there, which is a very good question, I would say.
बिल्कुल डॉक्टर साहब आप सही कह रहे हैं और अलेक्जेंडर ऑस्टरवॉल्डर भी इसी पे बिल्ड करता है कि यू नीड टू हैव ए एक्सप्लोर पोर्टफोलियो एंड देन यू नीड टू हैव एन एक्सप्लॉइट पोर्टफोलियो और फिर आप एक्सप्लोर से निकाल के एक्सप्लॉइट पोर्टफोलियो में चीजें मूव करते चले जाएं, प्रोजेक्ट्स मूव करते चले जाएं.
Absolutely, बिल्कुल. I think
डॉक्टर
साहब,
yes, probably कोई connectivity challenge है. Hopefully he gets back, he connects back. डॉक्टर साहब आपसे हमारी लर्निंग $1 million की है. मैं और आहत भाई like student for life for you.
I'm humbled. I myself am a student, Imran bhai. This is something that's a passion, I would say. And the more we can contribute, the more we can help. And again, I would say that this is a never-ending stream. There's so much in it to learn, and there are many aspects and things that I have learned from you and Ahad bhai. So the journey is both ways. I won't say that it is unidirectional.
So, gents, let me talk to him and then I'll update you. Please stay with us.
Sure.
Apologies for the slight glitch. He's joining back, sir.
Sure. No worries at all. I mean,
So,
this in
Mr.
itself is an honor, Imran bhai. I can see the date of 14th August written down, and I think I've become fortunate to be with you on this platform on this beautiful date.
Absolutely, and that's why जब हम बात भी कर रहे थे तो I said कि डॉक्टर साहब इस दिन तो कोई टाइम भी आप रखेंगे ना तो I'm there, and because I know you are a passionate Pakistani, you would be there. और हम कोई भी टाइम अगर रखेंगे तो.
Thank you so much.
I just want to add.
I was reading a Facebook post, General Saab, from one of my course mates, and he wrote that if wearing a badge for a few days in August makes you a patriotic person, then imagine we put on this badge on our shoulders for 365 days a year. So the love for Pakistan, respect for this country, may this country live long. It's an absolute delight and pleasure that I'm here with you on this platform, on this wonderful, auspicious occasion.
Thank you very much, sir. We are honored to have you. मैं सिर्फ मेंशन करना चाह रहा था मिस गुलजेबा हैं, ये एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं, इस्लामाबाद पिंडी बेस्ड और ये वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप को बहुत प्रमोट करती हैं. शी इज पार्ट ऑफ स्टार्टअप समर स्कूल इनिशिएटिव. इन्होंने हमें पिंडी इस्लामाबाद से बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स को और टीम्स को रिक्रूट करने में भी हेल्प किया. Yes, Miss Gulzeba, this is what this platform is for, and let's collaborate and let's take this to next step. Inshallah, बाद में हम offline बात करते हैं. इसको we'll build it further.
Oh, sorry, Imran. It was actually my laptop which went out of battery, so that is why I took that much time.
No worries at all, sir. No worries at all.
Well, Dr. Imran, actually, at this age, you need a lot of time to do the same job which you used to do in 2 minutes. You do it in 10 minutes. But fortunate enough, I did it in 3 minutes. But this is what is my. But it was wonderful to have you with us, and I'm sure we still have some time. Imran, do we have some time or no?
Yes, sir, we have some time, sir.
So I think
14th August है, आजादी है.
आजादी है तो बस ठीक है. That's good. Or I think it was very, very fruitful, and this is just a beginning. This was actually necessity negotiations. Now we are going to go for the opportunity.
Very well said. Very well said, sir. Very well said. Very well said.
For example,
please go ahead.
Please. नहीं आप बोले. I was just saying, I think Imran ने already कह दिया है वो Miss Gul को कि we actually need teams. It's not individual job. Individual can only guide you. They can give you and provide you the leadership. but rest everything, it is name of the game is collaboration and networking. And I think that would be the success story. That would be the basics of the success story. In fact, that is a necessity, and it's not an option. Sorry, over to you, Dr. Imran.
Absolutely, very well said, sir. I'm just saying that we sitting outside Pakistan as expats, you know, हम एक बड़े passion की निगाह से country को देखते हैं, especially if you have taken the oath to defend these lands, this motherland. तो उसके अंदर जो हमें यहाँ से बाहर बैठे हुए आउटलुक नजर आ रहा होता है, there are areas where we can see the country progressing, and this is one of the areas where I think there's a huge opportunity, and if we get the right people, set the direction right, I think we can shepherd this crowd that we have right now into a fundamental force that can reckon with one of the world's best economies out there. So it all requires someone to take the leadership and to shepherd this, what you're seeing right now as a crowd. But I have no doubt if we have the right leaders out there, this can be done very quickly, very smoothly, and we'll become a very, like what we say, Sisa Pilai Hui Diwar, inshallah.
जी इंशाल्लाह. वो कहते हैं ना, फिर अपॉर्चुनिटी वाली बात जो है ना, वो आज आ गई है. मैं हमेशा कई दफा इनको बताया अपने स्टूडेंट्स को भी, और आज आपने उसको फर्दर ऑथेंटिकेट कर दिया. मैं इनको ये कहता हूँ कि ये एडवर्टाइजमेंट दे रहा हूँ मैं आर्म फोर्सेस की. देखें, ये डॉक्टर इमरान आपके सामने थे, और इससे पहले भी बहुत सारे आए थे. कुछ फौज छोड़ के भाग गए थे पीएमए से, कुछ जो हैं वो कप्तान के तौर पे चले गए, बट दे बिकेम सो सक्सेसफुल इन लाइफ. तो मैं ये इनको कहता हूँ, सारे फौज ज्वाइन करो, उसके बाद बेशक छोड़ के चले जाओ. कामयाबी का राज ये है. दिस इज द वे फॉरवर्ड.
नहीं, to be very honest and fair here, मैं अक्सर रिफ्लेक्ट करता था अपनी जर्नी पे, looking back, and at times I was stacked कि यार तुमने वो 9 साल फौज में नहीं गुजारे होते ना, तो आज तुम किधर होते. मैं कहता हूँ, अगर मैंने वो 9 साल फौज में नहीं गुजारे होते तो आज मैं कहीं पे भी नहीं होता.
बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं. दिस इज एग्जैक्टली.
So it is all owing back to the respective institution who really made me up. There's a huge contribution that armed forces make you. The biggest one, to be honest, there is discipline. You see, sir, जो main element आज हमारी nation में lack करता है वो discipline है. आप किसी चीज की तरतीब खराब कर दें, वो जितनी भी valuable हो, that becomes a junk. आपको उसको फेंकना पड़ता है. तो इस नेशन की तरतीब सही नहीं है, और जो इंस्टीट्यूशन जो फौज करती है वो आपके अंदर उस तरतीब को वापस ले आती है, उस डिसिप्लिन को वापस इंस्टिल कर देती है. एंड इफ यू आर एबल टू समहाउ इंजेक्ट दिस डिसिप्लिन इन दिस नेशन, आई कैन टेल यू दैट वी आर लेस देन नो वन.
एक्चुअली ये जो आपने बात की ना, आई जस्ट वांट टू ऐड, जैसे मैंने कहा ना, ये आई टेक दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी एज एन एडवर्टाइजमेंट फॉर द आर्म फोर्सेस इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम. वो ये है कि सिर्फ डिसिप्लिन नहीं, it provides you the confidence, it provides you the communication skills, it provides you the networking. I mean, you do and die for a colleague who has been with you for 2 years in PMA, and I mean, you don't even know him. You're the first time you met him in PMA, and you want to even die for him in case he goes into a trouble. You are there to help him out. So confidence, discipline, confidence, communication skills, and above all, coming out successfully in all adverse conditions and failures. I think that's the key words, and that is why I say people should go there. Armed forces training should be compulsory for everybody. It should be that way, at least for every Pakistani.
Absolutely agreed. Absolutely agreed. I think I would truly agree to that.
और अगर इन सारी क्वालिटीज को इकट्ठा करें सर, तो इट इज लीडरशिप. तो मैं जो जिस चीज से रियली इंस्पायर्ड हूँ कि फौज लीडरशिप सिखाती है, वो प्रैक्टिस करवाती है, सिर्फ पढ़ाती नहीं है. बाकी बिजनेस स्कूल तो सिर्फ पढ़ाता है, वेरएज़ फौज आपको लीडरशिप प्रैक्टिस करवाती है.
मैं आपको इसके अंदर बड़ी एक इंटरेस्टिंग प्रैक्टिकल की बात बताता हूँ, वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग चीज बताता हूँ. मैं जब इंजीनियरिंग यूनिवर्सिटी में दाखिल हुआ तो पहली दफा मैं हॉस्टल में गया, ज़ाहिर फादर से दूर. फादर वाज एन आर्मी ऑफिसर, ऑब्वियसली वो थे भी पुराने 1948 कमीशन, सो ही वाज अ वेरी डिसिप्लिन्ड मैन. तो उनको मैंने बड़े जोश में मैंने सोचा कि उस जमाने में ये तो था नहीं इंटरनेट वगैरह, ना मोबाइल्स थे, और टेलीफोन भी उस तरह नहीं होते थे, और बहुत महंगे होते थे. 3 मिनट की कॉल पता नहीं कितनी होती थी, उतने पैसे हमारे पास नहीं होते थे. तो मैंने सोचा कि इनको खत लिखा जाए, और वो एक एरोग्राम उन दिनों नया नया शुरू हुआ था, एक ही पेज के ऊपर आप सारा लिखते थे. उस पे मैंने बड़ी जबरदस्त किस्म का उनके नाम लिखा कि जी आपने मुझे इतना कुछ दिया और ये सब कुछ किया, एंड आई एम बिकॉज ऑफ यू आई एम नाउ दिस इन द इंजीनियरिंग यूनिवर्सिटी डूइंग माय इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग। बड़ा मैंने सुपर उसमें उसमें हर चीज डाली उसके अंदर। वो लेटर गया वापस, कुछ दिनों के बाद एक और लेटर आया उनकी तरफ से वापस, और वो लेटर मेरा उसके अंदर था और कुछ भी नहीं था उसके अंदर। और वो सारा लेटर जो था उसके ऊपर बहुत सारे रेड निशान लगे हुए थे, और आगे लिखा हुआ था कि इसमें क्या क्या गलतियां थी, कहाँ ग्रामेटिक मिस्टेक थी, कहाँ स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक थी, और कहाँ पर उसकी सेंस की मिस्टेक थी। दैट वाज द लास्ट टाइम आई एवर रोट अ लेटर टू एनीबडी। बट देन आई टुक अप अ चैलेंज कि लेट मी स्टार्ट राइटिंग, एंड आई एम वेरी प्राउड टू से कि मेरे अब बच्चे जो हैं वो ना सिर्फ किताबें बहुत पढ़ते हैं, इवन क्लास 3-4 से भी उन्होंने अखबारों में लिखना शुरू कर दिया था। वेरी गुड राइटर्स ऑल थ्री ऑफ देम विदाउट एक्सेप्शन। तो कहने का मकसद ये है कि कई दफा आपको चीजें जो है ना, जैसे आप कह रहे हैं डिसिप्लिन और बाकी चीजें और लीडरशिप, बट दिस पार्ट जो है ना ये आप मिस कर गए। इट्स एवरी प्लेस देयर इज अ ट्रेनिंग एस्पेक्ट in the army, whether it is son and daughter of yours or it is your subordinate or your colleague or even your senior. तो ये एक पूरी फैमिली और एक पूरा पैकेज है जिसमें आपको हर चीज सिखाई जाती है, बट मोर ऑफ प्रैक्टिकल, लेस ऑफ थ्योरी एंड मोर ऑफ प्रैक्टिकल.
Absolutely,
And I think
absolutely. I think
Ahmed is saying the same: unity, faith, and discipline. Well, it's much more than that. That is what I wanted to elaborate. But anyway,
ab-
Dr. Imran, so grateful, and so I think it must have been a very, very, I mean, sort of a reforming lecture for the students, especially at 14th of August. I think this is the biggest present we could give it to them.
Absolutely, sir.
I'm really honored, really obliged, sir. Thank you very much for joining you on this platform. It's been an absolute pleasure from my side. I think you have made my day here. Otherwise, I would have been spending this time. This is this. I think I could not have spent it better than being on this platform with you and with our audience watching us.
In military,
Thank
it says you scratch my back and I scratch yours. But I know you mean much more than that. We both mean much more than that. Imran, over to you.
Sir, thank you very much for your time also. Dr. Saab, thank you very much. We loved it. This has been the best gift for us and from our side to all the participants. And this is just the beginning of our collaboration and to the journey of a new collaboration, a new journey. और I can promise you कि LGU के साथ मिलके this is the platform जहाँ से हम real एक change लेके आएंगे. What we did in DICE was just would get multiplied by 100 or 1,000. I know Jan Saab, I've been working with him for last 15 years. So I can promise you कि आगे जो एक really roller coaster ride हमारे लिए भी आने वाली है.
Inshallah, inshallah, inshallah. It would be a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to
Thank you.
visit you, General
Thank you.
Saab. I will be in touch, inshallah, on emails with you on
Sure.
WhatsApp. Let's take this forward.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you
very
very
much.
much, Imran. Please take care.
Thank you, sir.
Assalamu
Khuda
alaikum.
Hafiz.
With this we conclude our week 3 audience and happy Independence Day once again. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. Thank you very much, Jan Saab. We're signing off. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.